what it would take for this ship to be righted, it's not a word, but put on the right track, is you would have to stop all funding to universities. Who's going to do that? There's a ton of people that won't do that, but that's what you'd have to do so that you could, and I don't even know if in that way you could do it, if it would help, because the secret societies are in the universities. If I said in a video not too long ago that if Yale in the 1800s in their paper, school paper, was writing about how Skull and Bones was taking all their men away, and they were controlling the campus, can you imagine what Yale is now? They just have more secret societies, and they're in all universities. So it would almost take having to dismantle all the universities. Who's going to do that? Nobody. Because everybody thinks that it's great to get an education. Is it? Is it? Do they get an education there, or do they get more just mind control programming? I don't know. The secret societies are the biggest problem. That's where your elites came out of. That's most of your World Economic Forum. And that's most of what's in Washington. That's why you always have to be on guard with everybody in Washington. You do, because and there's female secret societies too. So even with the females, because that's who they're loyal to. They have to be. It's a syndicate. So it's not like they get to say, I don't want to be a part of it anymore. If they joined, and that's why that's the other reason there shouldn't be funding to the universities, is because that's a vulnerable age. Kids young at college, and they get easily manipulated into these societies, and they get a bunch of stuff for it. It's not like they're strong armed. They're just given a car, they're given a bunch of money, and they're way at college. But then they become the lawyer that at this law firm and that law firm that will slowly over time erode the Constitution. Will get certain lawyers or judges to back things that erode our Constitution or trample all over it. Put all those people in Washington that get elected, and their number one priority, just like Tony Soprano's mob family came before his own family. It did. It did. If he had to take family out, he did. So it comes before the country for all of those secret societies that came out of Yale, Harvard, and mostly in Washington, it's Yale. But it doesn't matter, because it's why you have so many law firms that the elites have, because they came from those secret societies. So when I say I don't know how you fix that, I just don't. You can't band-aid it, because Skull and Bones isn't even the most doesn't even have the most money. They have millions, but it's, what was it? Cross and Key, I forget. Snake and Books. There's so many of them, but one that has like $10 million in it, because those same people then that go on to become lawyers or judges or politicians or lobbyists, whatever it is, they give a bunch of money into that society back. So the money just keeps churning. So, but what they have to be beholden to, just like President Bush Jr. was asked about his time in Skull and Bones, and he said it's so secret I can't even talk about it. And that interviewer ended up dead not too long after. So Kerry was in Skull and Bones with Bush Jr. They graduated at the same time. They were both in it together. But there's so many Skull and Bones. They just are different names. Now there's your normal sororities and fraternities, but that aren't secret. And that's different. I mean, they're not beholden to that then after they graduate, but those secret societies, they are, which is exactly what our founders with the Illuminati were writing about in the beginning of our country foundation when it was founded. So I don't think you can, this is my opinion, because I'm not about trying to take people's religious rights away. Like when I do videos about the Buddhist stuff and these all these idols, it's because for people that are in a Christian nation, and it doesn't mean everybody has to be Christian, I get that. But for those that are, because I think the majority of Americans are, even if they don't practice it, they certainly aren't in some occult, but well, some are, but not, I don't think the majority. But it's good for those to see those things, not because I'm trying to be critical, but from what I believe as a Christian, those are things that in the Bible are red flags that should be pointed out to people. So it doesn't mean that people can't be here in this country and they want to practice that. We have plenty of Americans that do. I just don't think a lot of them know the truth about it, but or know the roots of it. But I think everything goes back to the roots. I've said it for a while now that it goes back to that. It goes back to the Garden of Eden. It does, because it all lines up. It all makes sense. I mean, from that time forward, it just does, and then lines up with the Bible. But so I think that that's why we get more and more off track, is because these dark secrets, I mean, if they're secret at all, then they're only being secret because they're up to no good. And when they are up to no good and they have more money than anybody could even think of, then, and they're from a dark, dark secret society. I mean, Skull and Bone, these are dark secret societies. They're rooted in wickedness. So when you have that, then when you have all leadership that comes from that kind of stuff, they're not going to be putting the country first. They're not going to be putting the values or foundation of what America is first. They'll say it, they will use the words, but their deeds and actions will show that they'll do the opposite. That's the reason why, come on, anybody who's followed politics, even for a short time, before Trump came, it's like it never makes sense. It's like, oh, you're going to go take care of this, but then, oh, wait, no, you got on board with Democrats, but they're all sort of in the same party, because there's just as many Democrats and Republicans that come out of these secret societies. So what they are beholden to, what they have given a sworn oath to, isn't this country. It's to that secret society, because they're in it for life. They don't get to just quit. So, yeah, you'd have to, I don't know, put a halt to the universities, and I just don't see that happening. Or stop their funding, but even if you do, you're going to have the same Yale secret society members that, I mean, I guess until the ones, I mean, it seems to me that these universities, some of them have tried to do something about these secret societies, and they just crop up again. So it just makes me call into question, should kids really be going away to school? I mean, community college, being near home, you'd have less suicides, you'd have less of these hazing parties, and less chance of any kids getting into secret societies, because they're never going to tell they're never going to tell their parents. They won't. So, yeah, I think that if there were people in Washington that really wanted to do something, they would stop all funding to the universities, and some of them maybe just close till you can clear all that society garbage out. But I don't know, I'm not really impressed with the universities anymore, because I think that really all they've been is re-education camps designed to help create a bunch of people, train them in mind control and what they're to believe, and keep them in education so long that they don't even realize they don't do their own thinking.